Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The support on here would be greatly appreciated. Following the global pandemic, many startups have equally come and gone, with ambitious owners targeting a section of the market to place their product. While some may be outlandish and never get off the ground, others do, but can, in some cases, succumb to financial pressures and/or a general difficulty breaking through into a market that is contested with legacy companies. Global Airlines is a UK startup that you may have heard of, with, on the side of outlandish ambitions that you may also have heard about. But will they be able to succeed? Firstly, let's dig deeper into the company itself. Global Airlines is a startup based in the United Kingdom that has emerged only in the last few years. The company immediately made headlines, saying it would use a fleet of Airbus A380s to connect London to worldwide locations. Labelled as an airline that was created out of a video game by some, others threw out comments such as this being just another company that will never get airborne. And while the startup technically hasn't with passengers, it has progressed across the last 18 months, to a point where at the beginning of May 2024, it ferried its first A380 to the UK with thanks to Hi-Fly, them being a partner of the company. Initially slated to launch in the middle of 2024, which we now know not to be possible, Global Airlines wants to fly the A380 exclusively from London Gatwick to destinations right around the world. But to begin with, it's being, I guess you could say, modest, by flying to powerhouse cities of Los Angeles and New York. Really, a launch across the Atlantic is targeted as its first focus. With more Airbus A380s set to arrive as part of their business plan, the company has set its sights on several other markets, such as Africa, Asia, and the Oceania region. But Global Airlines is up against quite a fair bit, as you'd expect for an airline that says it'll fly exclusively a plane that Legacy Airlines has struggled to make work. Additionally, for a company that seemingly has not understood the costs of the targeted operation to leading cities, where factoring in space slots and more are not just expensive, but tough to get in, it's understandable to see why there have been so many critiques of the startup. Across its brief journey in the industry, there have been many incidents where the airline has also had its credibility thrown right out the window. Some would argue to me, and maybe even to you, that it had none to begin with, but let's assume it did. Global announced several partnerships with Amex and more. However, the collaboration with Amex didn't seem to be all it made out to be. Partnerships such as these, among others with the likes of, say, champagne companies, are flashy, but for Global Airlines, things fall apart when you dig deeper into these. They actually need to get in the air, and the things that they are promising are not eventuating. It does get worse when you go into their operation with a comb. On several occasions, Global Airlines has claimed that it had obtained an AOC. This is an Air Operator's Certificate, and without getting into the nitty-gritty of it and its legalities, you should basically know that it's essential for an airline to launch service. Without an AOC, no airline, whether it's a startup or a major one, is getting in the air. So consider it to be important. Despite comments claiming it had such a thing, it does not. Additionally, you've got probably the biggest elephant in the room, and no pun intended when you consider the size of these things, but it's the fleet problem. Airbus A380s. Only a handful of airlines have made this aircraft work in their business. That is a fact, let alone a startup that would be relying on an aging second-hand plane of such a sheer scale. When you factor in not just the operating costs, but the maintenance costs that will be required to maintain a plane that is only going to be getting older, the crew associated, and so much more, it doesn't really seem that Global Airlines has the resources to be able to do this in a successful manner. It's essential also to explore many other factors, such as airlines competing with global airlines. This is very difficult and a space that is highly competitive, but also highly established. The thing with global airlines is they're a startup, but they're hardly forging a market of their own. It's not like they're coming into the industry and saying we're looking at targeting markets that are unserved or underserved. they'll be going head-to-head with airlines such as Delta, United, British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, American Airlines, and more. And if there's one thing you've probably noticed from all these aforementioned carriers, it's that they're by no means small companies. These are powerhouses in their own right, and premium companies too. Time and time again, low-cost transatlantic travel, while very attractive to many demographics and something I've used myself, has failed. And now to say we're filling an Airbus A380 across the Atlantic, well, that's going to have doubters. Look no further than Norwegian's colossal failure when using the A380 with high fly to cover for lost capacity following that Trent 1000 engine crisis that impacted Boeing 787s and left them grounded. Well, things didn't turn out well for the company that was not well equipped to manage the plane, with a bucket load of experience, even with high fly at the helm. Why would this turn out any better for global airlines? Well, some may say that there's greater levels of planning. Others would say that there could be more significant investments, but there's no evidence to back these claims. The Airbus A380 is, yes, a very big fan favourite. It is an aircraft that has done exceptionally well with customers and can see high satisfaction levels across many airlines' fleets. But that doesn't mean it'll work. How far global airlines will actually be able to make it is probably the question on everyone's lips. And to their credit, they've gotten further than many would have ever imagined. But there are still so many other hurdles that they need to overcome. And the thing is, every company has hurdles. That is a natural part of being in the aviation industry. But for a startup which has such an outlandish business model and some pretty hefty ambitions, it seems overall unlikely. And what else? There are factors such as, what will their price point be? How on earth will they actually be able to break even by charging enough for a ticket that is still low cost? How do they take people away from your established legacy companies with, say, frequent flyer programs that get people to come back? How do they obtain connecting traffic? And probably most of all, how are they going to commit to fill an Airbus A380 on a continued basis? Yes, London to New York is a highly lucrative market, but companies time and time again have struggled with using such planes on this route. Clearly, the one thing that is there is ambition. Sometimes that is enough in significant endeavors such as these. Global airlines will be wished all the very best by many people. It is one for the dreamers out there, and unfortunately, when you dig deeper and deeper into their model and really analyze it, there are very visible concerns that remain. And you would probably imagine that a miracle is required to overcome them. What are your thoughts on global airlines? And I guess the all-important question is, do you believe they will actually succeed? Are you maybe surprised how far they have gotten at the moment? Or do you see a lot of what's going on as much noise but not a lot of action? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. It is certainly appreciated. Please take care, do be safe, and I'll see you in a couple of days for your latest aviation analysis. Be sure to subscribe to GlobeTrotting if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.